chasing the condo dream, the new car, the new this, new that, a lot of my time I spent trying to get away from that. So in order to do that, I was taking off any time that I could, using up all my PTO just to get out of that condo, to get out of those things that I was working so hard to get at one point. So after camping out in the back of my car, I was like, well, imagine if I had a bigger car. Next thing you know, I'm buying an SUV and I'm camping in the back of the SUV. I was like, wow, this isn't so bad. Next thing you know, I have a cooler, and I was like, wow, okay, even better. I was like, well, what if I had something even bigger? And that's where the van idea came from. I was like, well, I see all these travel people. It's like, well, that's something that I could potentially do. And it wasn't super popular at the time, but it kind of made sense. I was like, well, if I get rid of all these expenditures that I've worked so hard to trap myself in, if I get rid of those, I can actually afford to do the things that I actually am spending time doing, like camping. By migrating into that tiny lifestyle, moving into the van was not a huge culture shock. Going from big apartment, this, that, the other, to van, this is it. My whole life is in this bus. It accommodates me to any location. If I'm in the desert, I got a scooter. I can zip around on these trails. If I go Monterey, I got my scuba gear. If I go to somewhere inland, there's no water, I can go skydiving. So it's like wherever I go, I want to be able to be comfortable in my space. So wherever my space is, the only consistency that I have in my life is me. How's it going? My name is John Brant. This is my 2012 short bus. It's a 5-window, and this is a Thompson-built Skoolie. This is something that I bought in Seattle. We have a few additions on top, which is the Patio, the solar, which runs all the mechanisms on the inside, and it's powered by a 200 amp hour lithium battery. What I ended up doing with this was actually changing the alternator to a high output alternator, so you get more watts while you're driving, as well as pulling power from the sun. So coming over on this side, we actually ended up adding a canopy, so you can actually pull this out. It's a little zip, a little cheapo. You pull it on out, protect you from the sun. And this is actually my dog patio. This is the handicapped lift that I actually ended up keeping. So not only do I use it as my scooter ramp, but I also use it as my dog shower. Up underneath here, there's an outdoor shower for, dog-friendly use. What's convenient about it is having this little lift here by being able to power it on and off. So you do have the option to lift it, drop it down, scoot away. I also use it a lot for my scuba diving shenanigans. So making our way to the back side, this is actually the rear of the bus, and I have my security cameras and the backup camera, which I actually can use while I'm driving the bus, so there's no blind spots. So for safety, you have the motorcyclists and things like that. Merging makes it a lot easier. And the leftover pieces of the roof are what we created this ladder with. So I took this bottom one off. It prevents people from climbing on the bus, because I've had that happen a time or two, people just clowning around. So it's a little bit of a deterrent. But the back end of the shower, this is the entire shower room. This was something that for me was a luxury item, because I lived in the van for 2 years doing the water bag shower. So I told myself when I got the Skoolie, I would build a big, beautiful shower. So not only do I have a shower this size for myself and the dogs, but being able to rinse off all my scuba diving equipment as well. So when we first started building this deck, one of the things that I wanted was a place where I can hang out, as well as have some solar. So what we ended up doing was putting 560 watts of solar panels up on the roof, which are on a hinge. So this entire thing is framed and bolted to the bus directly. And up here you have 3 different panels that are on hinges that allow the hinges to push the panels up and down. I don't have the actuator on here yet, but I'll be able to lift the solar panels up once I get the hydraulic actuator on there. You have the first third of it is solar panels, and then the rear end of it is all pine. It's what I could afford at the time, and a bunch of leftover recycled pieces. So the frame was built with this steel here, and you can actually hang on to these. It's not going anywhere. They're pretty sturdy. So we built it on the ground by measuring from the front of the bus all the way to the back, and then from left to right. So building it on the ground, we had 4 people have the frame installed, lift it up, hoisted on little pulleys with a 4-man team, set it up on the bus, and had it tacked on all points. So here, here, here. So there's no mobility. I had 5, 6 grown adults up on this bus without any issues. So the bus actually has 80 gallons of water. So 40 on this side and then 40 on this side. So what's kind of nice about it is they have valves right here, One of these days they'll be on an electric mechanism, but right here you can actually turn off and on valves to each tank, so you can actually stabilize yourself by pulling water from one side from the other. So it's really nice and stable. You know, having these dualies has really been beneficial, having all that weight of the tile inside of that shower. I actually have 2 of these storage areas. This is where I keep all the tools, the straps, the caulking, you know, all the shenanigans that you need for the bus life. So anything that goes wrong, that will go wrong. You have the zip ties and the plugs and all that fun stuff. All right, welcome to the inside of my bus. The layout really works well with the flow, with the kitchen, moving your way to like the closet area. So while you're sleeping, you get up, you make your breakfast, you wash your face, and make your way back to the routine, which is the shower. When you step inside of here, it doesn't feel like a bus after a while. After being on the road for, you know, 2.5, 3 years, you kind of miss home a little bit. So one of the things with the design of this and the colors and the palettes, I wanted to have like a cabin-y feel, you know, something that felt a little bit more me versus Instagram influenced, because in the van, that's what it was. It was the only thing I had to go on. But this, the oranges and the colors, makes me feel like I'm in a cabin off and away in the desert. You know, I'm from the Midwest. I wanted to bring that with me. So a lot of the pastels, it's comfortable, it's cozy, it's warm. It feels like a little studio apartment. And then you walk out and you're like, holy shit, I'm inside of a bus. You know, you kind of lose track of that when you're inside, if you're inside for a little bit. Yeah, so the beginning of the bus, a lot of people get a lot of questions about this turf and why I designed the turf this way. I travel with 2 dogs, so I wanted them to have a space just as much as I have my own space. So while I'm at work, you know, if there's a wag walker or somebody to take care of the dogs, I want them to be just as comfortable. So this turf down here, this is where Peyton and Miles sit. They kind of like to people watch, you know, take care of the bus. In the van, I had a really hard time with the dog food. So this is something that I created with a friend of mine, Ludi, who helped me design this dog space to have hidden doors and all this stuff to where I can hide their dog food, their leashes, their poo bags, and their dog food up and away. You would never see it unless you were looking for it. So this is actually a hyperallergenic turf, and it's hydrophobic. It cleans your feet as you're walking in, and it's really easy to vacuum up, sweep it out. And it's very simple just to wipe your feet and not carry a bunch of debris inside of the bus. So this little station here is just really convenient for the dogs to hang out and give me my space. So in here, I'm able to keep track of all my, you know, my work stuff, my scrub caps, my masks, my safety glasses, you know, all the stuff that I, you know, routinely get up for in the morning. I'm on call, all right, you know, pull on your badge, throw on your goggles, put my badge on, and off to work I go. So this is designed to be the charge control station. So the 2500 watt power inverter, this is what I use for the bus. I like to have it right here readily available. I like to see it when I talk about it. A lot of people come into the bus, they want to know the details. So I'm like, well, I got tired of dealing with flipping up, you know, lids and showing people stuff in the van. So I put this right here. Not only is it kind of a centerpiece, it looks good. It's everything that you need right here. Hey, can I take a picture? Yeah, it's right here. And if anything goes wrong, I don't have to bend over and deal with it. I can fix it, work on stuff right here. Everything's kind of, you know, level. So even in here, having the main charge controller separate from the control panel here, I know what I did, I know what we added. If there's something wrong, I didn't have to touch or cross wires. You know, I wanted to keep it simple. So this makes it really beautiful, and I like to, likes with likes, sames with sames, the smart charge controller. If anything happens, a fuse is blown, I can see it. I don't have to go outside of the bus. I don't have to do anything. It's all right here. The rear view camera that I have in the back is also synchronized to the rear view mirror. So while I'm driving, I actually have live feed while I'm driving. And what's really great is being able to have touchscreen to be able to push up and down. So while I'm backing up, I can see who's behind me, what's behind me, so I don't rear end anything. And then I can raise it up. If I'm backing up, I'm not hitting any power lines or tree limbs or anything like that. While I'm driving, I actually have peripherals of the left and right side, as well as these bulb mirrors, which I love. You know, they wanted to take these down. I was like, no, 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 and keep the bus aesthetic, and I can see all the way around to the back side of the bus using those mirrors, and behind, and even as close as almost nearly below me using this one. And then for security, I use this guy here. It's Owlcam. So they do have front and rear. So anytime something happens to the outside of the bus, it notifies. You get a text message. It's ran on its own network, not Wi-Fi dependent. You know, it's really, really great to have. Especially when you have dogs, you can check in on them, you can talk to them, see what's going on, things like that. And there's also temperature monitoring. This refrigerator is actually one of the pieces that people like a lot just because it looks a little vintage, older style, but this is a Home Depot $80 purchase. I ended up having once upon a time in the van. I've had the Dometics, I've had this, that, and the other. I just wanted something where I didn't have to, you know, the drawer issues. I just wanted something that made me feel a little bit more home. So it's got the nice freezer, got the refrigerator, plenty enough for me, and then the microwave, and, you know, basic popcorn heat up stuff. But it fits perfectly with a small living space. I had 3 burners stove in the van. I didn't need 3 burners. I cook a lot, so I figured if I'm only using 2 burners, you know, it saves me a little bit of space. So this allows me to cook, you know, my chopping blocks here. This is all granite, so I don't really have to deal with, you know, cutting boards. If I needed more space, this is actually my portable air conditioning unit. It's a zero breeze. It'll last 6 hours on a lithium battery, and you vent out the hot air, vent in the cool air, and then you drain out the water through here. You can drain it into the sink, out the window. Super cozy, convenient, portable. I ended up downsizing on the stove so I can make space for my sink. I really love my big, large sink. It's huge. This was a lot bigger than what I had in the van. I had a recycled hair salon sink in my van that was maybe this big. It was about that large. So I was like, well, give up here, compensate it in here. So what's nice about this is on demand. So what runs the hot water is this Excel hot water on demand little system here. I do not have a hot water tank. So as I need hot water, I turn it on to hot, lift it, it ignites the propane in here, and then I get hot water. I don't have to worry about waiting on a tank or anything like that. These are actually, as fancy as they look and as fancy as they are, these are nothing more than IKEA cabinets. What I love about them is, one, they were cheap, and the materials are very easy to clean. So if any mess gets on them, you can just wipe them down. They're water resistant, dust proof. I don't have to worry about it. Just give them a good wipe. And they're deep, they're magnetic, and I actually put some Velcro strips on here because I'm paranoid about taking turns too sharp and the drawer falling open. So they are very large, they're lightweight, easy to clean. I got a rice cooker, I got all my glasses, Tupperware, strainers, everything. And it's even got a portable blender, USB. You just charge it up and off it goes. That's what I use for the gym. The bottom drawer, that's a junk drawer really. Nothing more than a junk drawer. And that's where I have like chargers and all kinds of laptop stuff and deodorants. So these drawers down here, these are similar like the ones up top, and these are just more food storage. So the one underneath just has a bunch of canned vegetables, and then this one has more canned food, oatmeals, different types of seasonings and sauces. And the reason that I put the drawers down there was because when I lived in the van, I had a smaller refrigerator, and what I didn't like about that was having to come down here, you know, bending over 5, 6, 7 times a day. So I was like, well, in order to avoid that, my back's starting to hurt, and I just put the shelving that was up here down here, and now this is chest level and I don't have to worry about it. This is actually a piece of mine that was my friend Ludi, who happens to be somewhere over here. This is Ludi. This is her right here. She is the one that helped me design this table. In the van, I did not have a table, so she told me she was going to build me a beautiful table, and that she did. So this is actually 2 live edge wood pieces with a epoxy pour. This was our first one, so we got some little micro cracks in it. We didn't know that it heated up as hot as it did, but I actually like them. It reminds me of like a frozen lake. So being from the Midwest, it kind of gives me a little element of home. But this is actually on an electric lift. So you push this button and down it goes. I have 2 dogs, so for safety it has a sensor. So if you touch underneath here, the table will raise back up for safety. And this actually drops down or raises up depending on, you know, your height or your desired situation. And these cushions, they're Velcro. They just slide right in here, and this becomes my bed space. This is really nice to have, and having the USB chargers. Beautiful view this way. Look this way, and you have a beautiful scene out this way, and everything's level. The dogs can stand, and they're not hanging out the windows. So the height of these are kind of perfect. I think they're 36 inches of standard. I can't remember exactly, but What's really cool about the benches is the storage underneath is pretty significant. With all the sports that I do, I have all my rock climbing gear, my scuba diving gear, and just about everything. I have a inflatable, this is my scuba diving bag full of weights, lead. I have my paddleboard, inflatable 11-foot paddleboard. I have the dog's life vests, extra flippers, pumps, life jackets, and that bench over here, that's the skydiving one. That's the dry bench, which has my skydiving equipment, my rock climbing gear, my pulleys, my rock climbing shoes, chalk, all that stuff. So all the wet stuff stays in here. It has a little tub at the bottom just in case there's any residual water. And it's cozy, clean, kept out of the way. I don't have to really pay too much attention to it, and I can pull it out as I need it, and you would be none the wiser. This is the closet that I have for majority of my stuff, and in here I have all kinds of winter gear, jackets. I actually keep my scuba tanks in here. I keep some tools. It's kind of a all-in-one because I have my wetsuits, everything. It's comfortable. It has a little light in here, keeps everything out of the way. And if I wanted to go out, I'm not limited to just van life accessories like a t-shirt and gym shorts. So if I wanted to go out to an evening and wear a pea coat, I have space for my little pea coat. The washer dryer. So it's a small portable washer dryer, and it's connected to the same water access, and you have your water hot and cold, and it's also got the filtration system, so all the sink water you can actually drink. It does have a filter in it, and all the hot water is similarly pulled from the same on-demand system, so I do have hot and cold water for the shower and for the washer dryer. So this is kind of like my little junk drawer. That's where I have my toothbrush, my shampoos, and my laptop, you know, like your little toiletry bag of toothpaste, hairbrush, all that other fun stuff. So this is where I keep all the laundry stuff and extra toothpastes, extra mouthwash, extra body wash. This is my Nimble pet monitoring system. So what this does is this is actually, it's got its own app. So it actually tells you the ambient temperature, humidities, and pretty much atmosphere, everything that's going on inside of this bus. So when I have the dogs in here, I get alerts. I can set the temperatures to whatever I'd like and perimeters. And like if it's going too hot, too fast, this will notify me through a text message and an email what's going on inside of this bus. So if the dogs are in here, this will be set to 68, and within 5 degrees of 68 degrees, I'll get a text message and a notification saying, hey, something's going on inside the bus. It's getting too hot or it's getting too cold. So I live in the Midwest, so it does get a little cold sometimes. So stepping inside the shower here, this is a Max Air fan. It actually has a remote, which is convenient. It actually, when I'm taking a shower, I like hot, steamy, nice shower, so it'll suck all that moisture out. And at the end of the shower, I just push a button and it actually blows air inside. So luckily, having drains all around this floor, all these walls being wet-proof and like Red Guard, this is all water resistant. You don't have to worry about any moisture issues in here. And then having that fan blow all that water down. When I have my scuba equipment in here, I can put my wetsuits, my flippers, everything, shower, rinse it all off, and then blow the fans on it so I can save a little power if I don't want to use the dryer. I can hang everything on my clothesline here. So this is a retractable clothesline. I could push a button and it retracts into here. So if I wanted to dry up my socks and not use the dryer, I can just hang them up here, blow the air in here, let it drip all over the floor, and not worry about it, park somewhere. Okay, my clothes are done, just take them off and put them away. So what's nice about this shower is everything's water conserving. So when you turn the pumps on, you have this little button here, and you can actually adjust it to low, medium, high, on and off. So if you're wanting to bubble up, you can bubble up, and the whole shower room is waterproof. You don't have to worry about nothing. You know, you don't have to worry about anything dripping on all over the floors. So what's great about having that is if I'm having the scooter, my wetsuits, or any type of equipment, muddy, whatever, I can just come in here with a garden hose and clean my shower, and spray it off, rinse it off, and not have to worry about it. It's not that I'm lazy it's just easier. It's more efficient. It's just faster. So when you're on the go, it's little things like that. Filling up water, cleaning, all the miscellaneous stuff takes time. So in a small space, it gets dirty. Luckily, in a small space, it's just as easy to clean if you have it built like the way that I have it, you know. So this is actually the little, I call it the hot box. So I don't particularly like having a black water tank. So what I ended up doing was just get a small little Amazon toilet, and that's all this is. It's just a small little on-the-go portable toilet. So I do have female friends, or in case of an emergency, it is nice to have this. And what's cool about it is it's simply just a portable toilet off Amazon, and it's in a box. So you can move it anywhere you want, use it, stow it, put it away. You don't have to worry about it. And it's got red guard as well, and it's really easy to maintain. Having a toilet on board is nice. It's a luxury item. I prefer to just use the gym, the hospitals that I work at, grocery stores, wherever I can. But it's nice to have in case of an emergency. What's really convenient about this handicap door is a lot of people will get rid of this handicap door. I personally love it because I've not only had my scooters in here, showered my dogs, I've had 2 people fully scuba dived up here. I've actually had a small moped drop down, a 700-pound moped on the lift, lift it up and drive it into the bus, and off into the mountains I went. So having stuff like that is super convenient, portable, and having a big enough shower to maintain that has been awesome, especially out here in the desert. Having like one of those little mopeds to zip around while the bus is so big, and it's not the greatest on gas mileage, so it's great to have something portable, something small like a lithium-powered scooter or a small gasoline-powered something to get around in bigger cities. I'm a surgical technologist. I was trained through the military. I was a medical corpsman. Basically, it's EMT, so we're paramedics. If I'm on call, I'm sleeping in the parking lot. They love it. If there's an emergency, be there in 3 minutes. The flexibility with that job and being able to bounce around in the medical world is super beneficial because some people get picky on where they want to go. It's actually worked out very beneficial for me, especially during COVID. Right now, I'm at a point in my life to where this has shown me that this has been something that has brought me all my hobbies, all my friends, all my relationships, things that I never had when I had the brand new car, the brand new house, the place to go to. And ironically, now I'm in this position of I've met all these amazing people across the US. This lifestyle almost invites people in, and that networking has just opened up so many doors. It's like, how can I shut that out? Me personally, I love it. You know, it's a very addicting lifestyle because you go where you want, when you want. I like the ability to bounce around. And like with family, they miss me. It's like, well, if you miss me, let me know. I'll get a contract out in Michigan. So I don't foresee myself giving up this lifestyle completely, especially as if you take the time to execute a floor plan that works for you, it's not inconvenient. The biggest question I get is, how can I start? It's like, well, what do you want to do? What is your goal? Do you want to do it full-time or part-time? Because a full-time rig, you may not need a bus. You may need a ProMaster. So you don't have to spend $1 billion to do it. You just got to have an idea and a vision and be open to talk and open to be vulnerable to ask questions that you don't know. Just little bits and pieces make it very doable. It's like, oh, your shitting situation. Like, where do you go to the bathroom? Like,
I got a bucket.
I got a bucket. And it's like, all right, you really want to get into that right now? Okay, well, how do you go to the bathroom? You probably go in a toilet. It's like, if I can figure out a shower and a washer dryer, just believe me that I can figure out a toilet situation. Why you late for work has never been something that I've had to have a discussion when. If I'm late for work, I have no excuse. I'm right out in the parking lot.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.